Vernomatic Productions.
Hi, this is Tommy Victor from Prong, and you're listening to Metal Mayhem ROC with the Vernomatic and Metal Waltz.
Are you ready?
Live from the Metal Mayhem Studios in Rochester, New York.
We are gold.
And heard around the world by metalheads just like you. This is Metal Mayhem ROC.
Heavy metal music.
Your weekly dose of metal music, interviews, album reviews, news, and more. Want to be part of the show? Send us a message through our website, metalmayhemroc.com, or hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. Search Metal Mayhem ROC. A proud member of the Pantheon podcast team.
It's getting nice and heavy.
Now, welcome our hosts, John the Vernomatic Verno, and direct from New Jersey, Metal Walt.
Good evening, everybody. As always, Thursday nights, new content drops. Tonight, we're joined by a true heavy metal lifer as Tommy Victor of the iconic New York City metal band Prong joins us. He's here to promote the new Prong album, State of Emergency. We're going to take a deep dive into the killer new album, dissecting the songs and the lyrics. He shares why he chose to cover a staple Rush song and why it's the perfect song to close out the album. This is a cool story. Tommy talks about the parking lot gig opening up for Metallica in Jersey in August and how and why the band got the call and what big decision they had to make regarding that event. Finally, he shares a funny story from the early 90s touring with Sabbath and Ozzy and how he handled meeting his idols for the first time. Before we get into this, though, we would like to invite you to visit the metalmayhemroc.com website. There you'll find a drop-down archive box of some recent episodes, mainly all our episodes. But last week we had Ronnie Romero, had the new CD, Too Many Lies, Too Many Masters. Before that, Brittany Chapman, the daughter of the late great UFO guitarist Paul Chapman. And at the beginning of the month, we had Udo Dirkschneider. He came on to talk about his new solo CD, Touchdown. Visit the website and, again, the archive section. Download these episodes. Subscribe to the pod. Leave a review. Sign up for the newsletter to receive notifications of new shows, CD reviews, giveaways, and any new YouTube interviews we have on our channel. So that's about it. We appreciate you listening. But now we're in a state of emergency with Tommy Victor of Prong. For my co-host, Metal Walt, I'm the Vernomatic. This is Metal Mayhem ROC. Well, today we got another one of those heavy metal lifers. 35 plus years from the streets in New York. It's got a brand new album. Prong's the band. Tommy Victor's the man. Tommy, welcome to Metal Mayhem ROC.
What's up, Vernomatic? Good to be here, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, you're welcome. Just enjoying fall. You know, football's here. You got a new album coming out. Before we get into that, let me introduce my co-host. He's another tri-stater. He goes by the name of Metal Walt.
What's happening, Metal Walt? It's good to see you, man. Thank you for doing this.
Tommy, it's my pleasure. Been many years in the making, and today it's a state of emergency.
It is.
The world is in a state of emergency, not just you. So
damn straight.
Well, the real emergency here is, even though I've been aware of Prong for all these years, you know, the Snap era, Beg to Differ, it wasn't until Walt and I were working the Metallica show, we saw you guys in the parking lot of MetLife. Now, you know, Tommy, I'm a card-carrying member. I went through the catalog, so I'm real excited for, you know, one, talking with you, and two, just getting into the new album and getting educated. So congratulations on the career. Before we get into it, how'd the Metallica show come about?
I think they wanted, from what I recall, or from what I know, they wanted us. So they wanted Overkill and Prong to do the parking lot. So that's really what happened.
But that's exclusive company, Tommy. I mean, I don't take this lightly. You think about all the thrash bands and all the metal bands that have come through New York, past and present, right? Like, that's select company, man. I mean, that's a privilege, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of great bands that came out of New York. Let's see, especially when you go back, I mean, crossover bands. But have they continued to do records like Overkill and Prong? I don't know. I don't think so. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Overkill have never stopped. They continue putting records. Prong had some little period, some holes where we stopped. But no, I mean, within the last, 10 years, there's been 7 Prong releases. So, it's been a lot of action. So I think that has to do with it a bit.
It was awesome. Like I said, I've always been familiar, but when the first singles from State started coming out and we were playing it on the radio show, like Breaking Point and whatnot, it was weird because I was more familiar with the new stuff than I was with the old. Thoroughly enjoyed it. So congratulations on getting that gig.
Thanks. That was a lot of fun. We were very excited about it. Got to see Metallica. It was a great day. Everyone enjoyed themselves. The weather was, when you have these outdoor things, it's always scary. I mean, who knows what's going to happen, especially on the East Coast here. It's like the hurricanes and thunderstorms, it's craziness.
Well, I know, and it did. There was a threat of rain that day, too. I remember when he was calling it out, and then it ended up being awesome because it never rained, and it was actually a perfect temperature.
Yeah. I heard it was blisteringly hot Sunday. Sunday was better because, for some reasons because more people would have been there because, Friday afternoon is Friday afternoon. Rush hour, trying to get in and out of that place regardless is just a nightmare. So, but the fact that Pantera was playing on Friday and we had a chance to see them, that was more of an attraction. We had a choice. They gave Prong the choice of doing, you guys want to do the Friday or the Saturday? And we knowing that Pantera was playing, we did the Friday.
The guys you had playing, the drummer and the bass player, how'd that come about?
Oh, with the guys with Prong? They both were our techs. Dean was my guitar tech for a long time. And then Tyler was our drum tech. So because of scheduling problems and other issues, they wound up playing in the band now. So that's what seems to happen with some people. They just rise the ranks. You start out as a tech for a band, you wind up playing with them. So that's what happened.
Well, I thought I heard a rumor that Jason Bittner was supposed to sit in with you guys for that gig.
Initially, he did a tour with us with Life Agony earlier in the year, and as typical Prong drama goes, he came down and rehearsed. He goes, "I want to do the gig." I said, "Sure." We put Tyler in the bullpen, and I said, "Jason wants to do it. Tyler, but Bittner's going to do it." And he was fine with that, but then he got COVID. So Tyler was elevated to the start. So apart from, as opposed to being a relief pitcher that day.
Could have fooled us, man. He was awesome. I mean, he was having a good time up there, standing up behind the drum kit. He fucking killed it.
Yeah, no, he did a great job. He's so inexperienced and he's so new. That was one of the fears that we had. It's like, how is he going to do a live show, especially on a show of that magnitude, and then going on tour, which he's never done before neither. So, these kids today, you don't know how they're gonna respond to things. So he did well, man.
Well, we enjoyed him. So the new album, State of Emergency, what is it? 10, 11 originals, 1 cover. We'll get to that a little later. I'll start right off the bat. The first song, The Descent. Thrashy, heavy drums. Great staple to come to say, hey, here we are. Prong 2023. What's the origins of this song?
It's interesting. That was the only song that went through arrangement changes. So I had done the demos myself back here in New York. I was living in LA for a long time. So we made the move, my family and I, back to New York, and I was writing all the material. And Ebbets had a lot of comments. Our producer, Steve Ebbets, had a lot of comments on the song, The Descent, in its demo form. So we reworked that song. So that was probably the freshest arrangement out of any of the songs. So it just came out great, man. I mean, the solo on the record is done by Mark Rizzo, who's playing with Tommy Vex right now and was in Soulfly for a really long time. And the BPM is really fast on that. So we said, this is going to be the opener of the record. So that when we finalized it, we were just going into finalization, we knew that was the opener. It's a Thrasher, got the big breakdown in the middle. It reflects old Prong. There's no surprises there with it. It's got the apocalyptic vision in it. This downwards. It's actually about like social media. Like this guy's just going crazy and just so fed up with. He just feels he's inadequate, and he's just on this this descent into misery because of online mental manipulation.
Well, then it's a perfect segue into the video and one of the early signals, Breaking Point. I got out of it. I love the chorus. What they teach you, you won't learn. It's obscene. It's a breaking point. Was there an underlying theme or aggression against media and all that bullshit?
Yeah, I mean, that's about, like the Descent is more about this one guy, and then Breaking Point's more about like the general populace just being fed up and whatever they do in response to them not appreciating being lied to, paying too much. Now we got inflation, all these things. That sort of everyone's reaching this breaking point. But I really saw it firsthand because at the end of the pandemic, Prong did this tour with Black Label Society, and it was unbelievable. It's probably the greatest tour we did. It was like everyone was on that tour, like all the shows were pretty much sold out. People were going crazy. Like I've never seen it before, where of all ages, people were just drinking like crazy, doing all these drugs and just killing each other in the mosh pit. I was like, what is going on? I was like, everyone's reached this breaking point. Like we've been shut down, and now this is the response to it. People are just spending money like Black Label have so many this unbelievable merch selection, but still they got to spend a whole bunch of money on Prong too. I was like, what is going on? People spending and eating and drinking and doing drugs like it's the end of the world. So that's really where the idea of the song came from in the beginning, initially.
Tommy, I would say, this is a general observation, being a Prong fan back since the early 90s is listen, you don't write surface level. You're very well versed, you're very sophisticated and topical in your lyrics. And that's what makes, in my opinion, Prong stand out as a very, very unique band. So I just wanted to ask you about like your sound, right? Because there's a certain tone that you play with your guitar, and that's synonymous with Tommy Victor. And then there's also in like your vocal delivery, and I wouldn't say it's your voice, it's the delivery that you do in the songs. I can't remember one of the songs on the new album. My 9-year-old daughter was in the car the other day as I was spinning it, and she was humming along because she's like, "Oh, Dad, you listen to this crazy extreme metal stuff. This is horrible." But I hear her in the back going, "Da da 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 da, ba 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 ba," and she picked up like the whole groove of Prong, and that's what makes your sound so synonymous. So, you know what? You've had a long career, 13th album. Talk a little bit about the sound of Prong.
I think it's a good question. I think the vocal delivery and the guitar, a lot of it is based on Killing Joke, which is like my favorite band. So a lot of it's that. And then we were first introduced to, I guess, Metallica, like Ride the Lightning period. So it's like a combination of that and then, hardcore. So New York hardcore, and which really starts from the Bad Brains, but like the Cro-Mags, Agnostic Front, where that kind of delivery comes in. So I think it's a mix of those type of bands, really. And then I sort of just kept going with it. Like I was playing bass in bands as a kid, so I've always been more rhythmic. I sort of picked up guitar when Prong started, so I've been learning on the way, And I just think I keep getting better. Like it's always a process. I'm always challenged, and I feel that it's like when they ask to do it, I'm like, you have to make another record, because I feel like, there's always more room for development, and I can grow a little bit. But now that you see all these records on here, like being a legacy act is really a cool place to be, because I know what doesn't work, and I could look, oh man, that's cool. So it fits in with this framework of the umbrella of the Prong sound. So I do have the benefits of that. I mean, we broke ground before. Now we laid a foundation. Now, we could expand on it, but we can't deviate too much from that. Like you said, that prong sound. Otherwise, it's weird. I don't want to, it's funny with, like in Spinal Tap, when they start doing the Jazz Odyssey, it's like these bands, so it's cliche-wise, they always wind up doing something that's completely weird. Like Metallica did that Lulu record. I mean, you got to watch out what you do, especially like, I don't want to, there's other bands that have put out these real dud records, and you can't, you can't go too away from what that foundation is. Otherwise, it just topples,
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, anybody that knows prog knows it's heavy, it's thrashy, it's doomy, it's industrial, experimental. It's unique, man.
When you and I were coming back from that Metallica show and we're reflecting on the day and the prong set, you said to me, you know what? That's what you get with prong. A little bit of everything. It's sort of like a heavy metal buffet, if you will. And that's what I really love about the band, where that's exactly it, man. You get a little of this and a little of that, but it's always, prong stays in their lane. It's a big boulevard, but they stay in their lane. Hey, listen, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Metal Walt's going to start giving his interpretation of some of the killer tracks on the brand new State of Emergency prong release. We'll be right back.
Metal Mayhem ROC.
I'm Metalhead.
Metal Mayhem ROC is the home for metal from the very beginnings.
This is James DeBrett from Hellstar. You're listening to Burnomatic.
Dave Overkill from the Cleveland band Destructor. Hey, Dave, how are you?
I'm doing great.
To longtime headliners.
Hey, this is Red Beach from Whitesnake.
Hey, this is Vinny Appice from Dio, Black Sabbath, and Last in Line.
To music of today.
Hi, this is Olaf Wickstrand from Enforcer.
Hi, this is Braun from Mastodon.
You're listening to Metal Mayhem ROC.
With John the Burnomatic Burno.
Plus, we talk with producers and authors to give you behind-the-scenes info.
Hi, this is William Merwin, author of The Meaning of Metallica, Ride the Lyrics.
Greg Renoff, the author of the book Van Halen Rising and the Ted Templeman book, A Platinum Producer's Life in Music.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Metal Mayhem ROC, a proud member of the Pantheon podcast team, giving you more to listen for. Join our community, and always remember to keep it heavy.
We love this album, man. It's killer. So a couple of my songs I wanted to ask you about, Tommy, the title track. Like right now at this point in time, like that's the one that keeps going up. Every time I have that on my earbuds, I keep raising the volume. It's just fucking aggressive. And, it's just, oh man, it's just like it's pounding.
Yeah. That's a real classic groove metal prong song. And again, like I didn't want to deviate from that format too. Like if anybody goes, oh, what is prong? I mean, some people say it's like groove metal, and sure it is. So that has that groove. But that's like the last lyric I wrote. And that was taken from all the other ones. I was like, we got to do a title track. The name of the album is State of Emergency. So that ties it all in. It's pretty much, as far as lyrically, it points to just propaganda and media manipulation again. And that seems to be a little bit of a thread that goes through a lot of the songs. And that ties in the whole thing where, it's just confusion and propaganda and disappointment and hopelessness all wrapped into that one song. So, that's why it's just so gritty, and it has that real aggression. And, and Anthony's song has this huge breakdown at the end, which is just like, oh my God, it's like the end of the world type of vibe.
Yeah.
So, that came out cool, that song. I really like it.
I love that one. And Non-Existence, again, that one, you got a video for it, right? And it's, maybe comment on that one in the video. Check it out. It's like, it's a bunch of buildings being constructed in kind of fast speed motion, like what's behind that one?
Well, that comes from the concept of existence is better than non-existence. So it's good to be alive and useful. You don't have to be happy, but contribute, man. Like, some of the guys people that were walking these girders in the sky, like sometimes you see these old pictures of these workers working on the Empire State Building or something. It's like, these guys had dedication, man. It's like, it's like risking their lives for prosperity's sake, and the building of America. I think it's just such a fantastic thing, and people take advantage of that or overlook that now. So, you're alive. We don't have to be just continually gratified, but everyone can contribute to life somehow. Like this whole idea that, oh man, everybody, like if everyone's owed something is just something that I just can't understand. Like, even when for Prong first started, it's like, I want to get records out. You want to do something, it's just the way, I guess I was wired, but, I think existence is better than non-existence. And, people say, oh, progress is bad, whatever. No, this song is about progress. And, we done amazing things as mankind, like building, and we keep moving ahead, and, there's tons of problems, et cetera. But, I think that they can be overcome,
Absolutely.
Now, you talk about some of these songs, like the social media angle and what you guys were just talking about. When you get to a song like Disconnect, when did you take the happy pills? Because this is like a fun, groovy, punk, rock and roll kind of, do I dare say, radio song. This is a cool song. Talk about this one. Yeah,
it's a cool song. I don't, but the lyric, he deceived you. That is kind of even more dark. On a personal, that song doesn't really fit into the whole state of emergency theme of the mass media. But on a this is, in a way, it does. Now come to think of it, because like the Descent is like this narrative of this guy that's going through this terrible state. This one's pointing the finger at somebody else. There's two songs like that on the record. This guy's trying to tell me something, and this guy is just completely delusional. Like you ever have, like it's like, dude, don't even. I can't even deal with what you're trying to. You're trying to sell me on something that is completely not the truth, and that's what that's about. This guy's just disconnected from the truth. So that's
the other song, Who Told Me, that you're referring to?
That one's more on the media side of it. It's just like like the gaslighting was like, hey, wait a minute. The last time, it's like you said something the last time, and now you're telling me you never said that, and it's just like, that is kind of like that too, where it's like, you're completely full of crap. But it's more point that one is more like the media. It's like I'm hearing this stuff, and I'm like, wow, this changed. It's like this whole Orwellian reality that we live in now. So that's what that one is. The other one, The Light Turns Black. That's more about somebody who's it's a theme that's been done before. Like it's like Dead Man Can Tell No Tales. Like it's like somebody who's just killing themselves with like either food or alcohol or something, with drug addiction, and you're like, dude, like, why are you trying to destroy yourself? That's like one of those songs where, and there's nothing you could do about it. Like you can't, the helplessness of being, in a relationship with somebody that you just can't help themselves,
I had an observation too, the song Compliant, and then the next one is the New York City song. But Compliant, it's not so much in the content, but I like how you throw the lyric right up front. The singing just hits you in the face in the beginning. And like, that's all about that. Like the focus of that song is on the delivery of the vocal and your voice.
Yes.
So what, comment on that one?
I think that's part of the whole concept of having a variety on a record too, where, I'm old school, man. Like, one of my favorite records is like Zeppelin 3, where it's like all over the place. You got the hard song, you got the immigrant song, comes out strong. And then it goes into like Friends, and it's like, whoa, I'm on like the psychedelic trip. And then it keeps you moving. And there's a couple other hard songs like Out on the Tiles on there. So it keeps you interested. So I like the idea of having some songs or songs that where there's not always a guitar accompaniment behind something. So there's that space. It's like, how do you fill that up though? And, it has that narrative, and Prong has done that before. It's nothing new. It's like one of those Prong songs that has, like even Slap Your Finger, Snap Your Neck has those those holes in it where it's just vocals. So it's good as a guitar player singer where you could, like just sing for a while and then crank it to a rhythm guitar. So you're not always having to play and sing all the time.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, what about, again, the New York City? And it's funny, when I was making my notes for the show, I said to myself, being a lifelong Jersey guy and Tommy being a lifelong New York guy, I want to ask him about his upbringing in New York and the New York sound. But then all of a sudden I'm going through the album and I'm like, holy shit, he wrote a song called Back to NYC. So I assume you were not in NYC and you've come back now, but...
yeah, I lived in LA, yeah. So that was one of the things, like when the label, we signed a new record deal and like, when are you going to do this? And I was like, I'm in the process of moving. My wife just got a job back in New York. I'm like, okay, back in New York. So that was actually the first song that I wrote for the record. Like, I was like, I'm going to start writing when I get back. And I wrote it in the apartment, and it had the vibe now, like of that intensity of being back in New York and writing the song. So I mean, really, where we move is not too far from where I grew up in Queens. So I sort of had the weather and just the way everything was. I was like, this is going to be cool because I'm back where I started and back where I first listened to the first records I bought. And I started listening to the old records that I was into as a kid. And, I go, well, now I understand why I'm still doing this, because I started getting that feeling. And I could tell you which records those are. I mean, I mentioned Zeppelin 3, like Physical Graffiti and Volume 4 and from Sabbath. And so those were like big, huge records for me as a kid. So they sort of like a doomy, gloomy, even Zeppelin 4 too. They just have this weird gloom about them, and so I'm going to try to. That's what this new Prong record should be like a little bit, not that style of music really, but there's always something really mysterious about Zeppelin, that always intrigued me a lot. And same thing with Sabbath. That record's just like this stoner rock classic doom record. Like there's nothing better than Volume 4. That's the one, So, there's the whole vibe of being back when I was like this alienated, depressed kid and listening to those records. And that was my life. What else did I have? I was like, that's my only solace was, those classic old records.
Oh, sure. The last song, it's a cover. And now we're starting to realize where this is coming from. Rush, Working Man. Last week, it was the late, great Neil Peart's birthday. But ironically, you guys finished the album with a cover of Working Man, which wasn't Neil. It was John Rutsey. How'd this come about? And, I started seeing Rush in 81. So they're one of my all-time favorites.
Well, I beat you on that. I started seeing Rush. I think the first time I saw them, they were opening up for UFO. And it's probably 76, maybe.
Oh, you're one of those guys, huh?
Yeah, no, I've seen them. So I saw Fly By Night tour. I didn't see him with Rutsey. I don't even know if they played it with him. But I saw like the first time Fly By Night. I had the first Rush record pretty much when it came out. I read about it in Circus Magazine, and I loved it. I was like, holy, this is the band like we've been waiting for.
Yep.
And then, I saw them Fly By Night, West Steel, 2112, like multiple times, Failure to Kings, Hemisphere, that whole period. And then, but again, along the lines of Volume 4 and, the Zeppelin records I mentioned, I think that Rush record is a classic old doom rock record, like that was, and that lyric always, it's one of the most memorable lyrics ever. It's like it's like this guy's a narrative of a guy that's just lost. Yep. So that's the bookends on the record. Like The Descent is the same type of lyric. It's this guy, the modern version of a working man is this, the 2023 version is this unemployed guy that's just addicted to social media that has nothing going on in his life, versus the 1974 version, which is a guy that's working at some factory and is just is hopeless. So that's the bookends on the record. So I thought it worked perfectly. Lyrically, musically, like the Descent has sort of this almost like a Sabbathy breakdown riff. And then, of course, the main A riff of Working Man is the classic doom blues rock riff that, everyone knows. So that's a great thing. And then, the fact that, Rush is a trio. So that works with Prong being a trio. So there's a lot of things why that was the perfect choice to end the record with. And it's a tribute to Rush. And no, I'm nothing against Neil Peart, but that first record applies more to what we're doing.
Yeah. Tommy, you have a record release show booked for Dingbats, New Jersey. You bet your ass I'm going to be there because that's in my neck of the woods. I would love to buy you a beer or whatever, but what's in store for that show? You going to play the whole album? Can I make a request? The whole album. Come on, man.
I wish I had the time to do that, to learn all the songs again, and go in there. But we have to play the hits of Prong, which is a lot of cleansing material, and then the classics, which are from Prove You Wrong record, Prove You Wrong, Unconditional. Then we do a lot of Beg to Differ songs. So I mean, we were out in Europe. We did a little run of headlining shows, and the set was an hour and a half. So I mean, usually we play pretty long, but we'll have some. Hopefully, we could do at least the three main ones of that we've been doing, and maybe add another one from State of Emergency as well. And then my buddy Steve Singh's band Morning Noise are playing that. He's in Danzig with me too. He's the bass player, so his band's playing.
Okay, that's great. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that one. Is there going to be a bigger U.S. tour to come at some point? I would suppose so.
Yeah, we're working on that. So, but that's not for a while because I've been really busy, and I want to maintain my marriage, so I'm not going to tour for a couple of months at least now.
Well, Tommy, listen, we're respectful of your time. Let's share your social outlets. How can people follow Prong, get the new State of Emergency, all that good stuff?
You go to prongmusic.com, and that'll link you up to certain things. And then our merch company is Manic Merch. We got a whole new line of T-shirts. You can get the record through Manic Merch too, and Napalm Records. I guess went on their site. Just plug in Prong, and you can order a record through Napalm as well in America. Europe, we're on SPV over there. So look at that Studio One. I love that. That's fantastic.
I was at that show in '94.
Oh my God.
I was at all of these shows, the Dehumanizer, the No More Tears. Before you go, Tommy, I know you had run-ins with Ronnie and Tony and Geezer and Ozzy. Any great stories you would want to share?
The only thing was Tony. I did not. They're like, well, Tony wants, you want to go meet Tony, and I was like, I think it was at the Beacon, and I was like, I was sort of when they said that, I started almost fainting. I had a couple experiences in my life with that. I sort of somehow got myself up, and he was sitting in the back, like as royal as he is. He was just sitting in the back of the dressing room, and I sort of dragged myself up there. I was like, this is Tommy from Victor of PRONG. I could not say anything. He was like, it's okay, man. I was like, just bye. And I just, I was so scared and so nervous that I mean, there's no way I could talk to him. There's no way. So that was about the experience. I was like, what? I am the biggest. The same thing happened with Gene Simmons with me. He came in a rehearsal once, when I was with Danzig rehearsing, I was just like, yeah. And he just said, it's okay, man. I was just like, what?
How about Ozzy, though? How about your run-ins with Ozzy? Anything good there?
Ozzy had that air about him, like he's just the average guy. He just, well, man, give me a beer, man. I was like, and Dio was the same thing. You got any weed? That's what's the thing. So, but, Tony is like this, so that was it with that.
Hey, on that Ozzy show at the Felt Forum that you opened at on 92, I was there. That was the show. A fan got up on stage and tackled him, and it got on the Headbangers Ball newsfeed, and it cracked his ribs. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, my God, I don't remember that. I I just remember, because we went on really early, I remember every time we played with Ozzy, there'd be like hardly anybody there, and like 5 guys just like giving us the finger, like somewhere. Like it was like here, there. I was like, hey, okay. So that was pretty much my whole experiences with that. But yeah, that's how that was with Joe, and he was a killer guitar player with Ozzy, and then Ozzy was just like, he was trying to like sneak into everyone's dressing room, trying to steal their beer, and then they were trying to, Ozzy got away, come bring him back out. So,
well, you've come a long way since those shows, Tommy.
I know, it's crazy, man.
Amazing career, and we're happy to be along with it with you.
Thanks, Walt.
Well, the new one, State of Emergency, when does this come out?
October 6th. Yeah, the show is October 20th at Dingbat, so October 6th. You can pre-order it, too, but it comes out October 6th.
All right, well, you know what? Thank you for admitting me into the Prong Club. I will pay my dues, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, John. Thank you guys very much. Thanks for your support. What's up?
We'll see you, Tommy. We'll see you at Dingbats. Cheers.
Metal for life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.